Hi, today is the 22nd of May 2024. I'm very certain that I'm going to make a couple videos today because I have so much to say because so much happened. And I mainly want to talk about yesterday evening and that experience that I had. But for this video, the start, I just want to say and talk about the emotions I'm going through right now because Dad just left for the airport, and this is my first time ever in my life being alone for even just one night, and then also for 4 weeks and in a different country. I've always had a hard time saying goodbye, and I was always scared when someone was leaving because I knew I was safe with that person, and if they were gone I didn't know if I was safe. And I was actually quite fine these past few days, and even now I'm okay. I always in between had like nervousness inside of me or got a bit scared, but never like really scared because I wanted to do this. I still want to do this, be on this adventure, but just to think like I'm gonna be here for 4 weeks fully by myself in a different country where my parents aren't just near me in 10 minutes. It just brings up a lot of emotions. And Dad, the last thing he did was like brush his teeth before we said goodbye, and while he was upstairs brushing his teeth, I was downstairs, and I felt that again the nervousness was kind of coming, but I also noticed that I was actually quite sad. I was actually quite sad that he had to go and that he was leaving because we didn't really get to do anything really fun together because these past few days were just full of different appointments and we didn't really do much together. Yesterday we did go for a long walk, and that was really nice, but we also wanted to play a game in the afternoon, and something just came between that, so we never got to like watch a movie together or play a game or whatever. So it was actually quite sad as well that he had to leave, and sad about what happened yesterday evening and that we didn't just have a last nice evening together. But I didn't like cry, or I wasn't like panicked when I had these emotions. I just noticed I was feeling quite sad and also a bit nervous. And then when Dad came down, he had bloodshot eyes, and I just thought he got like something in his eye. But then I noticed that he was crying, and I asked if he was crying, and he said yes, because he doesn't want to leave, because he loves it here. He feels like this is his home, and he can't wait to permanently live here, hopefully soon. He wants to. And he also said he also doesn't want to leave me here. And I just went over to him and gave him a hug, and I teared up then as well, and he just cried, and like for about 10 minutes he was just crying, and I then started crying as well when he then came over to me again and hugged me, and it was just a very genuine and caring moment. We hugged multiple times before he left and just kind of said a few things like how they're gonna be here on the next flight if I need that, and I can come home anytime, and I'm not gonna be left here alone, and I should call them whenever I need, and that the first night especially and then the first day is probably gonna be really weird, and I'm gonna go through a lot of emotions, but after that, usually when you like settle in, then it's usually actually fine. And I was actually okay. I was actually convinced that I was going to be fine because I had that perseverance, that I wanted to do this and I wanted to make it, and I chose this and I want this because I just had to get out for a while, out of my normal routine and my normal daily things that I do and work and all of that, just have something different. And then like when he said that he has to leave now, because it was past, then we hugged again, of course, and then he went over to the door, and when we were hugging we just both cried again, and which sounds so weird, but honestly it was really genuine, and we were just allowing ourselves to feel the emotions because we just feel deeply and have a lot of like fears and questions and thoughts. And he quoted something like, when you love so deeply, you feel so deeply. That's also got to do with being highly sensitive and so on, loads of things, and our experiences, Dad and mine, of being alone and having no one and being so scared and hurt and traumatized. And then when he stood outside at the door and just looked at me again, that's the moment I actually realized, oh, he's leaving now and I'm gonna be alone. Like, we're gonna be separated, like he's gonna be gone. And I don't know if I'll be okay. Like I was certain I was gonna be fine, but again, it's from the past. Like, I don't know if I can make it, I don't know if I can handle it. It's like being scared of not being able to do it. But mainly it was just the realization, like, oh, he's actually leaving now. And so my face automatically kind of scrunched up again, and I tried to withhold the tears, but they just came. And then he just came over to me again and hugged me, and he started crying as well. He just reassured me that flights go out to Spain from Ireland every day, and he'll be on the next flight if I need it, and he's still in the country for a couple of hours so he can just turn back, and just reassured me that, like, we're gonna find a solution if I need it. I'm not just gonna be alone and have to deal with it and have no way out and no security. And so he then walked to the car, which was parked near our house so I could see it. And I just stood at the door and waited till he drove off, and then we waved at each other again, and he drove around the corner so then I couldn't see him anymore. Then I just closed the door and noticed how now he was gone and I was alone, which was okay. But it's still, he's gone and I'm alone, and so I just started crying again, which was totally fine. It wasn't like I was so sad that I couldn't handle it or I was so scared, but it was just living through the emotions and allowing myself to feel them. And I sat down on the couch for a few seconds and just cried, and then just slowly got up and took my phone because I knew I wanted to make a video. Not necessarily about this, it wasn't really planned, but about yesterday. But then these emotions were just in me, present, so I wanted to speak about them first. But before I made a video, I wanted to allow myself to fully feel the emotions so that I don't cut them off when making a video, and I don't like distract myself from them. So I was just holding my phone and kind of walking around the house and going into my room and into his room, and just being sad that he had to leave and no one's gonna be here with me for a long time, and just mainly sadness was in the foreground, not so much the fear. In between there were thoughts like, oh my god, I'm actually gonna be alone here, and how am I gonna make it? What if people talk to me, or what if people approach me, or what am I supposed to say? What am I gonna do? Being here fully alone, I've never done that, and being here fully alone with, this is not even my actual home, like this is our house, but it's not fully our home yet because we haven't fully made it our home yet. And then not having people that I really know around here. And I mean, we know a couple people in the village and they're so friendly as well. And like the people that did work on our house, or the people that sold us the house, and they said that like I can text them or call them anytime I need, and whenever I need anything they'll get it for me. And so it's all friendly, and I am safe here in that sense. And honestly, I don't know yet how I'm supposed to get back as well, how I'm supposed to get to the airport and then fly back by myself, which I've never done before. But I know, like, I'm not thinking about it too much because I know it'll be figured out. Either they're gonna come over a few days before I have to go back, like my family, and then they're just gonna stay longer, but they'll drive me to the airport, or someone we know in the village will drive me to the airport. So we'll figure it out, but it's still uncertainty and unanswered questions, so it's something I have to like just deal with. And I know I'll be fine. It's just I have to feel those emotions, and I'm scared as well as sad. And like before Dad left as well, he just said a few times like I love you, and I also said it back to him because it was actually really genuine in that moment. I like meant it, and I wanted to say it because I don't often really say that to him. But in that moment it was like we were both so genuinely feeling the emotions and being together and wanting to support each other and just being real. It just felt like I wanted to say that to him too. So I think I'll leave it at that with this video, and the next one is gonna be so long and I'll probably cut it or make it into 2 or 3 videos. I'm really overwhelmed as well because I don't know how I'm supposed to remember all of that, what happened yesterday. There was so much and I don't know the exact order often, and I don't want to forget things that happen that are important, and I'm overwhelmed because I feel like there's so many important things that happen, and I'm like, how am I supposed to explain it well enough? And anyways, it always works out some way. So thanks for watching. Take care. Know that it's okay to not always feel okay. Until the next time, bye. So just to kind of round up my last video that I made as well about like kind of the mishap or whatever you want to call it between me and Dad. So when he came back home again, I was kind of like afraid to meet him in case like I didn't know what was going to happen, if we were going to fight more, if he was going to be in a bad mood or whatever. But then I kind of acted so normally, which in the past was impossible because I was so hurt. I couldn't. But actually I was like dealing with it and I was processing it nowadays and now. So I was actually able to go down to him and like speak to him normally and ask him questions, and he was kind of not really looking at me. He did answer me, but he was like still kind of in that mood, in like a mood. But then the more I kind of talked to him normally and just acted normally around the house and did my own thing, after a while he just came to me and gave me a hug, and that was then kind of the end of it, because then I really felt like safer to like be around him, do things with him, and not feel like I have to be afraid the whole time and not know what's gonna happen or whatever. So that was kind of fine, and I noticed like it was a genuine hug, not like in the past just like hug and get it over with but we're still mad at each other. Now it was really like hug and want to move on and want to be okay, and things like this happen and we learn from it. It's all in our own minds, we're all our own biggest problem, so there's no need to blame or each other or whatever. Even though sure we all make mistakes, all do things wrong to each other, But at the end of the day, it's in ourselves to fix that. It's all in ourselves.